The crime that took place on the 4th of June 2008 is supposed to be about the victim, the young, charismatic Travis Alexander that sadly passed away due to multiple stab wounds and a gunshot wound. But instead, the most talked about person in this case is the beautiful yet completely delusional killer. Jodi Ann Arias was born on the 9th of July 1980 in the state of Salinas, California, to her parents William and Sandra Arias. There's not much to find about Jodi's relationship with her parents. It seems she has had a normal childhood up to the point when her parents found out she was growing marijuana inside of her parents' Tupperware on top of the roof next to her bedroom at 14. The parents then told the sheriff's apartment, who then busted her. After that, it was like something turned inside of her head. She kept everything from her parents and started lying about the most pointless things, calling them noisy. Jodi has claimed that their parents have been abusive towards their children, which both parents firmly denied, saying she's never been honest since mentioned incident. Besides her clear behavioral issues, Jodi has managed to be a sweet persona when she benefits from it.
She doesn't trust us because we're parents. When she was in 8th grade, she got busted for growing marijuana with our Tupperware, putting it on top of the roof. We found it, they called the sheriff department. And then they busted her, and then, I don't know, it was one of her friends or something. And then we searched her room. That was the first time we've ever searched her room. And after that, she was kind of like something turned in her head. We were nosy parents, and we were gonna search everything she had. So she hid everything from us and always has since then.
Wow.
She's never been honest with us since then. And she was probably 14 then, because she has never been honest with us ever since then. And then when she had the house in Palm Desert, we told her we wanted to come visit her, and she goes, "Where are you going to stay?" She didn't want to stay in her house because she was afraid we were going to snoop through her stuff. And I go, "Hey,
That is kind of strange.
that's just the way she's been." And then when she was in Palm Desert after that, man, that's when everything, I don't know what, it's been a couple of years then. I said she's been a little crazy for a year.
Jodi and Travis both worked for a multi-level network marketing company called Legal Shield, which held a company convention in Las Vegas in September 2006. Travis's friend said it seemed to just have sparked for the two. As for the people around them, they could feel the tension between them. They talked the whole night and started off their friendship, which then led to Jodi leaving her long-term boyfriend 1 week after meeting Travis to be with him. Their relationship started off rocky from the beginning. Soon after Travis met Jodi, he sent missionaries to her home and also talked about the Book of Mormon with her and quoted the scripture to her. Within months of meeting, Arias converted to Mormonism. Travis was the one to baptize her. Jodi seemed to have always been interested in the different beliefs of her former boyfriends and took part in them, most likely to create a common denominator and create attraction.
Just keep going. Can I get you just to have a seat here? I'll be right in.
You can take my handcuffs off.
What's that?
Can you take my handcuffs off?
As soon as the detective gets in here, Detective Flores, he can take those off for you. I think that's what he told you anyway, that he'd allow you to have your handcuffs on.
On the 9th of June, Travis had a business trip to Cancun planned, which his employer Legal Shield paid for. He was allowed to take one person with him, and he decided it should be Mimi Hall, the Mormon girl he has been interested in for some time now. After not picking up his phone, even though it was time to leave for Cancun, Mimi called Travis's friends and told them about what was happening and that she was worried. They then decided to look for him in his house in Phoenix, Arizona. His housemate answered the door, saying he didn't know where Travis was either. He let them inside. Since Travis's room was locked, the housemaid used a spare key to get in. What they found was blood everywhere and Travis's dead, mutilated body in the shower. They immediately called 911. Jody was mentioned right away.
What's going on?
A friend of ours is dead in his bedroom. We hadn't heard from him for a while. We think he's dead. His roommate just went in there and said there's lots of blood.
Okay, you're a good friend of Travis's, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has he been depressed at all? Thinking about
Yeah.
committing suicide? Anything like that?
I don't think he's been thinking of committing suicide. He's been really depressed because he broke up with this girl, and he was all upset about that. But I don't think he would actually kill himself over that.
Has he been threatened by anyone recently?
Yes, he has.
Okay.
He has an ex-girlfriend that's been bothering him and following him and slashing tires and things like that.
And do you know the ex-girlfriend's name?
Do you remember? Yeah. What's his ex-girlfriend's name? Ask Taylor.
And do you know if he's ever reported it to the police?
Her name is Jody. I don't know if he's ever reported. Hold on. Yeah. Ask Taylor if he's ever reported Jody to the police, like if Travis did. No, he hasn't reported anything about Jody's behavior.
Okay, let me get those off you. Can you stand there for me? Face down. I'm gonna get you a bottle of water.
Thank you. Any chance we could get my purse?
Yeah, they'll get that from the house.
Will they bring it to me?
It'll probably be put in your property. There's water for you.
Do you want one for yourself?
Yeah, you can get one.
Maybe we could turn the heat up in here. Or like, do you have a sweater I can borrow or something?
I don't have any sweaters. I'll see if I can turn it off. It's hard to control the heat in this building.
That's fine.
So you remember me?
Of course I do.
I traveled all the way up here to come talk to you. Because, I've been working on Travis's case ever since it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I know exactly when it happened, when he was killed. I know a lot of details. And just recently we found quite a bit of evidence. And I'll discuss that with you. The main thing that I'm looking for, though, is answers on why certain things happened, why they went so far, and also to get your statements.
Okay.
A lot of details on this case that haven't been released to the public and not even to Travis's family. And those details are known only by us and the person who did it. Okay, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, is because I believe that you know some of these details.
Okay.
And I think you can help us.
I would love to help you in any way that I can.
Okay. Because we're here at the police department, the sheriff's department here in, was it Siskiyou County?
Siskiyou.
That's what it's called, okay. And you're considered under arrest or detained, you're not free to go. And I'm a police officer, I have to read you your rights, okay? I'm sure you've heard them on TV, I have to read them off this little card here, but they're pretty much the same, and I'll explain them to you as we go, okay? Let's see. This is July 15th, 2008, correct?
Yes.
Let me see what time it is here. It's 10:01 in the morning. This is case number 2008-161-0844. Okay. You do have the right to remain silent. Okay, anything you say may be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to the presence of an attorney to assist you prior to questioning and to be with you during questioning if you so desire. If you cannot afford an attorney, you have the right to have an attorney appointed for you prior to questioning. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
you mentioned you were traveling on some of these dates.
I travel a lot.
I want to kind of clarify some of these things. And, you know, if there's a question that you don't want to answer, you don't feel comfortable, you can say no, you know, or, you know, you can elaborate as much as you want. It's completely up to you. It's at your speed. I don't want to pressure you.
Is this recorded at all, or should we?
I don't know if there's a recording or anything.
I don't know if these are voice recorders. I noticed them. If they have video, or if they have audio, or batteries, or what.
What I want to do is just get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know, okay? And, you know, so I'm going to ask you some questions. You can voluntarily answer them if you want, okay? Is that cool?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
fine.
There was some question about you being, well, let's start with this. What have you been up to since Travis's death?
I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through. To make those rainbows in my mind when I think of you sometime. I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky, just the two of us. You and I.
Kind of in a daze, at least for the first few weeks.
Like everybody, you know?
Yeah. I know that a lot of people have been posting on Facebook really nice things, you know, and memories, and at one point I was like, well, maybe I should do that, so I posted this thing, and I just said all my memories, and I realized looking back on it that it kind of sounded immature. It's more like my Dear Travis kind of letter, and so I took it down because...
More personal?
Yeah, some of it was details that were a little more personal. Not too personal, nothing inappropriate. Just, I just felt funny. I think because I'm a photographer, I tend to communicate more through pictures, so I posted a ton of pictures that I had of him, and I have a ton more that I just can't access right now, and videos and things that I know his family would want, but I didn't realize until I actually spoke with Ryan Burns. He told the guy that's in Utah. And we've been talking a lot, and we try not to talk about that because it's kind of like, ugh. And plus, Travis is my ex-boyfriend, but at the same time, he's my friend. So while I'm mourning my friend, how do you talk to your new potential, possible, maybe person that you might start dating about your friend, even though he was your ex-boyfriend? So it's kind of a gray area. I try not to talk about him too much, but everyone thinks that you could have had a hand in
And I've
this.
talked to a lot of people, and everybody's pointing a finger at you.
I know.
You know, everybody is saying, I don't understand what happened to Travis. I don't know who killed him. But you need to look at Jody. And sometimes the simplest answers are the correct ones. And over the last month or so, I've gotten into Travis's life, talked to all his friends, his family. I got a really good understanding of who he is now. And I got a very good understanding of your relationship with him. One of the reasons I'm here is to talk to you to figure out what was going on between you two. I know the relationship that you guys had was of convenience sometimes. Obviously you weren't boyfriend, girlfriend anymore, but you were still having a sexual relationship, which,
Does his family know about that? Just curious.
no, his family doesn't know anything. Yeah.
I'm interested in protecting how he's remembered as well, and he's.
Well, the way Travis thought, by getting into his head and everything that he's written in his journals and everything I found out about him, he truly had feelings for you, and for some reason he felt that the relationship between you and him was somewhat unhealthy, but he couldn't stop it.
No, I didn't think it was healthy either, spiritually at least, and probably emotionally, but mostly spiritually. And I think that kind of, once you have something that's not healthy spiritually, it filters through all aspects of your life. You know, and that was just, I lived 5 minutes away, 10, maybe 10, depending, and it was just too convenient and too easy, and it was fun, and we had fun when we were together, and so it wasn't healthy, and I totally agree with that. The third reason was to put a distance, a physical distance between Travis and I, because I know that he really liked Mimi, and he said he did. He just, I kind of felt guilty. I mean, I know they weren't dating, but I just felt guilty somehow, and I didn't know Ryan at the time. I met him in March in Oklahoma City, and it was just brief, and I remember seeing him and saying, oh, I really want to go say hi to him, but he was surrounded by people, and he was kind of unapproachable. I've had a couple of serious relationships before where I was intimate with a few people, and it's kind of silly, but I used to always joke that regardless of what the Bible says, and yes, I'm Christian, I just live my life by the 10 Commandments, and those are my rules. You know, thou shalt not this or that, but it doesn't say thou shalt not fornicate. So I just used to joke about that, and it's a bad philosophy. I think that with Travis, there was a part of me that felt really guilty, because there was something inside that thought, you know, this is nice for instant gratification, but you're destroying what you could have with Travis. And that's why we did pray about it. I remember we knelt by his bed once, and surprisingly he suggested it. Normally, you know, I would suggest that we pray before we go on a trip, or before we eat if we're alone.
It was kind of unusual for him, huh?
Yeah, because he was very resistant to prayer.
The sweet-natured persona Jody has created in front of him slowly faded as her jealousy started showing. When around his friends, Jody didn't act all that sweet-natured at all. She would often get jealous of Travis's married female friends and didn't want him to spend time with anyone if she wasn't around. This behavior got noticed by Travis's friends, who used to be happy that he met someone to potentially settle down with. They acknowledged the red flags by warning Travis of Jody's odd behavior. It was an obvious problem, but to those who are in a toxic relationship, it isn't all that obvious. Travis would often emphasize with Jody, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it wasn't only that. To Travis, Jody was like a drug. He was addicted to her.
The whole trust issue keeps coming back into my mind.
That was the big reason.
He was a big time flirt, and that's the one thing everybody says about him. He flirts a lot. Does he mean anything by it? No, not really. That's just who he is. He did have, you know, girlfriends here or there, and he was at a point in his life where he wanted to really start settling down. He felt like he needed to kind of grow up, you know, become a husband, become a father. You know, that time had come, and he felt that the time had come and gone, and he was falling behind. Finding a good Mormon girl, you know, was difficult. Did you guys ever discuss possibly getting married or anything?
When we were dating, we did.
Okay.
Once we broke up, he brought it up. He actually proposed to me a lot of times, but he wasn't serious. I think he was serious once, and it was when we broke up. And that was really hard, because we were on the phone, and it was just like, none of that stuff should be done on the phone anyway, but I was hundreds of miles away. And I told him that I loved him. We didn't say I love you during our relationship, but we said it afterward. It was weird.
Okay.
I said, you know, this isn't, breaking up with him on the phone wasn't really the way I wanted to do it, but it was kind of a situation that had just come to a point where it just couldn't be ignored anymore. And
Well, let's move to after the breakup.
oh, okay.
What kept you in Mesa at that point?
I actually moved to Mesa a few weeks after we broke up.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, as far as the timeline goes, but I mean, if you want to call it our official breakup, shortly thereafter, it's like we were still seeing each
So
other.
you guys were seeing each other, but it was a long distance type relationship.
It was always long distance when we were officially dating. We dated from about the beginning of February to about the end of June. So February, March, April, May, June, about 5 months total.
Okay.
He's really persuasive.
He persuaded you to stay there in Mesa?
He kind of was playing up all the advantages if I did come to Mesa. And if I did, he said, it's a great place. We could still see each other and hang out on occasion. This church is very strong. You'll make a lot of friends. And I already knew all this stuff prior because we talked about that. And so I went ahead and just made the move. It sounded at the time like a good idea. I mean, I didn't know about him and Lisa at first. So I don't know if they were even dating at that time. I don't know what their whole timeline was. But it still would have been weird. And it wouldn't have made Travis very
during that
comfortable.
time that he was seeing Lisa, did you continue to see him as well?
Yeah, and I didn't know that he was seeing her.
Okay. But he would call you and have you come over?
Yeah.
I know there was a time when you, I guess, were cleaning his house too for extra money or something.
Yeah, I did that.
He hired you.
Yeah, I did that because he knew that I was struggling, and he's like, I've been doing the math, and that happened pretty much right on. I think that started in August. He's like, I've done the math, and I feel that I can be more protective. My time is more valuable than X amount of dollars per hour, so why don't I pay you this per hour, and I'll work, and you can make a little bit of money.
Okay.
So that helped.
That makes sense. And that was around the same time frame as the move and back and forth?
It was like a few weeks after the move. And he sent me this picture, and he's like, this is your uniform, have it by Friday or Thursday or whatever. And it was this French paint thing. I was like, no.
Yeah, that's him. Typical.
Yeah. I didn't find out about Lisa until after we had this conversation where we decided to all just come clean. And that was quite a conversation. Because I was never unfaithful. But when we started dating, that timeline around February. The reason I remember February is because he had told me in December, go date other people kind of thing. And so I did. It was January 10th that I went on a date with my friend John for lunch. We just went out and had sushi. Nothing romantic happened. Yeah. We didn't hold hands. We didn't kiss. I think we hugged. Yeah. And I guess it was considered a date because he asked me and I accepted and he paid for it. I used to spend a lot of time at their house. And, they're a wonderful family, and Sky she's somebody that I really opened up to, and I told her a little bit how I just wasn't sure about Travis at the time, and I wasn't sure what was going on there, and she wrote in this long letter, or she didn't write a letter, Travis wrote the letter, but she kind of got on his case, and they told me all kinds of things about Travis that I wasn't aware of.
What kind of stuff are you talking about?
They said if I don't get away from Travis, I'm gonna become just like Deanna, which is his other ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Do you want to waste 6 years of your life waiting for him?
Because you can't commit.
He still tells Deanna, I love you, and I was like, what? And that kind of thing.
Yeah, and he's what you call a player. You know what that means. Yeah. He kind of pulls girls in,
anybody, though.
But he can't make a commitment.
Some time passed and Trevor struggled with his faith because of his sexual relations with Jody. The guilt he felt has impacted the way he sees her. She wasn't a potential wife to him anymore. Realizing suddenly meeting this girl and planning a future was all too good to be in fact true. So he slowly started backing away from their relationship, which had her acting even more possessive over him. When he cut off their relationship, Jody managed to lure herself back in through sexual favors. This was a returning pattern in their relationship, which didn't help the situation. No matter how much Jody loved him, he didn't love her. Which seems hard at first, but would for no sane person justify what she did next.
He liked you, he loved you. He wanted to be with you, but he was reluctant to make a commitment first off. And truly, he didn't think that you were marriage material.
On 2nd to 7th June 2008, Jody took a 3,000-mile road trip. On June 2nd, Jody and Travis talked 7 times. Their longest call was 41 minutes, their shortest call 17 seconds. At 8:04 a.m., Jody arrives at Redding, California, 10 miles away from her hometown, Waurika, Oklahoma, to rent a car. At this point, Jody has blonde hair. She asked the rental agent for a white car so it, quote-unquote, wouldn't stand out. At 7:32 p.m., Jody and Travis talked 2 more times. She then stopped at McDonald's to order fries and a bottle of water. She spent the night with her friends. At this point, she traveled about 400 miles. On June 3rd, 10:10 a.m., she made 2 phone calls to Travis. At some point, she stops at her boyfriend's house. He gave her 2 gas cans because she needed them for a long trip. Between 8 and 9 p.m., she arrived in Pasadena, California. She then again called Travis twice and then stopped to fill up her rental car and the 2 gas cans she got from her boyfriend. On June 4th, the day Travis died, Jody arrived at his hometown in Mesa, Arizona, after traveling 1,000 miles. She gets to Travis's house at around 4 a.m. They then went to bed. At this point, Travis has less than 14 hours to live. They woke up at 1 p.m., had sex, and took explicit pictures of each other with Travis's new camera.
This trip took you a little over 48 hours. I've gone over this trip over and over in my mind and on paper. And even if there's still 20 some odd hours, even if you pulled over to sleep a couple of times.
Oh, did I tell you that I got stranded?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned that. If you slept for 10 hours,
I only slept for about
here
8
and
hours.
here, it would still leave 18 some odd hours for something else. Okay. As they're saying, she left, she didn't get to till Thursday. Wednesday? That's when Travis was killed.
I did not go near his house. Aren't there?
I pulled your cell records. Your cell phone was turned off between here and here. Okay? But the last place it pulled it was here. The next place it turned on was here. What does that show me?
Oh, well, oh, no.
Is there plenty of time for you to do that? Yes. And do I believe that you had come to visit Travis? Yes. I truly believe it. Did you have the opportunity? Yes. You were traveling alone. There's no other witnesses. Your phone just happened to turn off from here to here.
Well, I didn't turn it off physically, but it died.
And then it magically, you found your charger here?
It was packed under the seat of the passenger side.
So, what I'm asking you is for you to be honest with me. I know you were there.
Are you sure those pictures aren't from another time?
Positive. Absolutely positive.
The last time I had any kind of sexual contact with Travis was in April.
Remember I told you about the camera?
Mm-hmm.
That camera was damaged. Someone put it in a washing machine, ran it through a wash cycle with some clothes of Travis's, but the card's intact. Remember I told you that card was destroyed? I didn't want to tell you the truth because I wanted to make sure those photos were accurate. And we can pull deleted photos. I don't care if you delete them 6 months ago. We can pull every photo that was ever on there. Pull the little pixels together. Get the timestamps on them. Not all of them, but most of them have timestamps on them. And we can verify those timestamps.
Mm-hmm.
And I have pictures of you in Travis's bedroom with Travis. Pictures of him. and it's obvious you guys are having sex, taking photos of each other, and they're dated and time-stamped on the day he died.
Are you sure it's me? I mean, that because I was
Jody,
not there.
It's you. And you know it's you. I know all the details of this case. The only thing I don't know is why.
5:22 p.m. Jody took a series of 19 pictures of Travis in the shower. 5:30. The camera catches the last picture of Travis alive. 5:32 p.m. There's a picture of Travis on the bathroom floor bleeding immensely. 11 p.m. Jody called Travis 3 times and leaving a voicemail. In her head, it was an alibi, to prove that she had to call him because she wasn't there. Jody then proceeds to drive back home and arrived on the 7th of June. She at this point colored her hair dark brown and stopped at her ex's house where they then make out. Jody was arrested 1 month later.
Jody, if you want, I can show you some pictures of him. Do you want to see pictures of him?
Part of me does and part of me doesn't.
Why? Because you don't want to remember?
No,
Jody.
There's a morbid curiosity.
Jody.
I wanted to know how he died.
We can keep playing these games over and over again. I'm not going to believe you. When you start telling me the truth, then I can believe you. But I can't deny this evidence. I can't. The trip you took doesn't make sense. The opportunity was there. Your pictures on that date with him. Your blood is in the house, mixed with his. Mixed. Not alongside, but mixed. Your hair is there with blood. And your palm print is there in blood. It's over.
Could it have been my blood from before?
Your image is not important right now.
If I hurt Travis, if I killed Travis, I would beg for the death penalty.
If you were in my shoes and I had this evidence against you, what would you say?
If I had that evidence against you, it'd be pretty obvious. But I guess being in my position, it just seems so impossible. I'd want to see it. I'd want to know. I mean, I'm not a murderer, but I guess if I were to do that, I would wear gloves or, something.
I know you tried to wash him off. Try to get some of the blood off. Try to clean him up a little bit. But you're even denying the pictures of you being there. There's pictures of you laying on the bed in pigtails.
Pigtails?
Yes. And I've got pictures of you that I've blown up, and you've got the little mole right there. It's the same one. It's you. It's obvious.
Admitting to something I didn't do won't help me either. Okay, let's say for a second that I did. And I say, I did it. I mean...
The motive is there. The jealousy issue.
But I wouldn't even say it was jealous. I mean, there may have been some jealousy there, but...
Then what is it? What caused this?
I think if anyone, maybe Travis was jealous, but...
That's not what everybody else says. Well, they know he was jealous, but they think that you are absolutely obsessed.
Jody manipulating a situation with her behavior wasn't anything new. Jody has shown signs of narcissistic and manipulative traits since the beginning of their relationship. After one of their many split-ups, Jody tried getting into Travis's house through the doggy door. After another breakup, Travis figured it would be time to meet someone with the intention of something serious, a practicing Mormon woman called Mimi Hall. Mimi saw Travis more as a friend, but Travis was determined to trying it with her. Jody didn't like that, so she decided it would be a good idea to send Mimi an anonymous email calling her a whore and threatening her life. Mimi already knew Travis had a stalker ex, but knowing that she was being targeted creeped her out even more. Whether or not Jody would have sent that email anonymously, everyone knew right away that it was Jody who wrote it in the first place. These were only 2 warning signs of what was to come.
Remember I told you about the camera? It was taking pictures by accident. The camera was upside down. Had flash. Another time, camera flashed. Looked like it was on the ground, maybe it was kicked. But it took pictures, and it's obviously a female. Okay, I'm gonna take a little break, but I need you to think about what you're doing here. Because the best thing for you to do is to tell me the truth. It's so important that you tell me why this occurred, what was going through your mind, and what caused you to do this. It happened, and I can prove it happened, and there's no doubt in my mind, and there absolutely is no doubt in anybody else's mind who's investigating this, that you were there and that you did this. And I'm gonna go look for some pictures, and I'll bring them over, and we'll continue this discussion. Okay, let me go find them. I'll be right back.
I'm not a murderer. What kind of gun is that? Just curious.
It's a Glock.
I just bought a gun.
Yeah, Jim? You probably found it by now.
Probably. I was taking it somewhere.
These are just a few photos. And I want to be careful not showing you certain photos.
Please
because
don't
some
show
of
me.
them are very bad. That's obviously Travis's house, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Have you ever shot that 25 auto?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever touched it?
The one that was stolen? I've never seen it. I don't know what a 25 looks like. I know what a 22 looks like. And I know
It looks like a 22, actually.
well, the 22s that I saw kind of looked like the ones in the westerns where they had the barrel and the long, 22 in this store. And it looked like a toy gun, so it looked like a squirt gun, like a water gun.
Remember him?
Is he naked? In the shower?
You can look at the rest of it if you want. There's a few of those. There's a few more. Which I try not to show people because I don't want to put you out there like that to people. But it's just one of the photos that was taken by accident. And this is just a small portion of it. It's your foot, Joey. Those are your pants. No, it's off color because we had to enhance it and the color kind of changes a little bit. That's Travis.
This is his bathroom. That is not my foot.
These are your pants. It's a different color, like I said, because we had to enhance it and the color changes. The zipper back.
I have both of those pants at home. If these are the same one. I don't have a zipper there though. Not on mine. And this is a black stripe and this is white and the black goes around the bottom too.
And that's your palm print of your left palm. Because Travis is telling me that you did this to him. That's my job. My job is to speak for him. And this is what he's telling me.
There's no reason for it. There's no reason why. He never raped me.
Nobody,
Never.
there's no way. Get that to your head.
If I was going to ever try to kill somebody, I would use gloves. Even if I were there, and even if I were going there to just have a good time with him.
You? The next door neighbor? And his wife?
I don't know his wife.
Okay. What about some of the neighbors across the street?
No, I've never met them.
No. But you've hung around there quite a bit, and they know you. Yeah, they've seen you there on that day.
I wasn't there that day.
Jody, you were there that day.
And even if I'm trying to think, the majority of the time that I spent there, I had platinum blonde hair. So I mean, and I've never once said hi to them, met them, shook their hand, met them face to face, crossed the street. When I spent time there, he wanted to keep it private, so it was, I spent the majority of my time inside. Not, walking around outside. I was also going to ask you, I don't know if this is something that you can recall, but a lot of the stoplights in Mesa and things have cameras on them. Is there any way we could back that up? Or, if I were going to Phoenix, going through that tunnel, is that surveillance?
No, we don't work with the originals. We just make an exact digital copy of everything, move it over so we don't touch it, and then we analyze it. And our guys are so good. Every case they've ever done that I know of has never been lost in court.
If I'm found
That's not
guilty, what
true.
happens?
They don't have to pay the price.
Well, what's the price?
I don't know.
Don't you know what the sentences are? The sentences that are carried for something?
It depends on your situation, how old you are, depends on the type of crime. It depends on whether you show remorse or not. And part of that remorse is at least coming clean. When somebody doesn't come clean, I don't see any remorse. I don't know if a judge would see any remorse. I don't know if a jury would see any remorse. But I don't know. That's not for me to decide. My job is to investigate, find out who did it, why they did it, and present it to a court. And that's it.
I just can't imagine.
You have something to tell me, but you're just so resistant. I know you're afraid, but you're already going through it right now. There's no backing up. There's no backing up to yesterday. There's no backing up to that day. It already happened. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to face the consequences.
If I did that, I'd be fully ready to face the consequences.
Happen when people wear gloves, then we can actually see that, well, somebody wore gloves in this case. Nobody wore gloves in this case. Nobody.
Oh, I'm just saying that if I were to carry out something like that, I would have worn gloves.
Nobody else did this. There's no evidence to show that anybody else did this but you. You were the only one. That is it. And I'm not seeing any remorse. I'm not seeing anything from you to make me believe anything otherwise. You can continue to say, I didn't do it.
Well,
but you're the kid that got caught on videotape stealing the candy. And you continue to say, it wasn't me.
Travis Alexander died on the 4th of June 2008. At first sight of the crime scene, it was obvious to investigators that this was personal due to overkill. Travis suffered 29 stab wounds, a gunshot wound, and a slit throat from ear to ear. Every normal person would assume the gunshot wound came at the end of the act to finish him off. But it is suspected that he got shot in the head first, which means Jody must have stabbed him and slit his throat after he was dead, or at the very least, while lying helpless on the floor trying to escape. Besides Jody's hard efforts of not leaving any trace of her previous presence, she cleaned down the crime scene with a towel and water. It was confirmed that her DNA was found all over the place, including her bloody handprint, pictures of her in explicit positions on Travis's new camera that showed timestamps and the date of the day Travis got killed. She earlier tried deleting the pictures and destroying the camera by putting it in the washing machine. But investigators were able to restore the pictures, which were a substantial piece of evidence during the trial.
I can explain the blood though, and I can explain the hair. I don't know about the fingerprint.
I can't explain the blood or the hair.
Well, the hair, there's hair everywhere, and probably every square inch of that house. My hair.
Yeah.
If you sweep it, you'll get hair everywhere. All over around the toilet, around in the shower. I don't know about the shower because the shower gets used, but definitely around the bottom of the sink area. And maybe I'm
Still
not sure.
doesn't explain the hair to me. It had a follicle in it. You haven't been there since April. There's no way. No way. The blood? No.
Well,
Blood is mixed with his, and that's the blood that he bled that day when he was killed.
well,
Print?
I don't
Yeah,
know
absolutely
if you can
not.
check how fresh the blood was.
No, we can't check how fresh it is, but we can go by where it is.
Oh, okay. Because I cut myself when I was.
And you're saying that that blood that you cut yourself with back, who knows when, was still on the wall in the exact same spot
Oh, I don't know.
where the bloody palm print was.
It was a glass that Travis had that I was using to wash Napoleon with. I used to give him baths. And I dropped it, and when I picked up all the glass, and I'm pretty casual about it because I break glass at work all the time, and it's not a big deal, it's nothing to be scared of. And I was probably just being careless with it, and I sliced myself open, and...
Is that how you want to leave this? Just these far-fetched excuses on why your blood is there, why your hair is there, why your palm print is there, what pictures are there?
I don't know about the pictures.
That's how you want to leave this? Jody, I know you were there. I know that Travis was either in the shower or just outside the shower when he was shot. And I know somebody who was extremely angry at him took a knife to him and couldn't stop. Couldn't stop. And before you knew it, it was all over. And then you panicked. And then...
I've never been that angry at him. Not enough for that. I've been so far angrier at other people, at other ex-boyfriends.
Then tell me who could have done this. Who did this?
I don't know, but if I go to trial for this, and if I'm convicted for this, whoever did this is going to be sitting very pretty somewhere. Glad that it wasn't them.
And it's my job to make sure that an innocent person does not go to jail. But I don't see an innocent person sitting in front of me. How is you being there going to prevent him from being killed?
Well, I kind of feel that if I had gone, that we could have been out watching a movie, or we could have, two people could have done something more than just him. I just feel like if there was some way that I could have prevented it, there's some way that I could have done something to stop it. And I told that to a few people, and they're like, well, you might have been killed too. Maybe, but maybe Travis would still be alive.
There was no doubt in the minds of the investigators that Jody was the killer. At some point, she changed her story from not being there at all to her having been there and fighting against two burglars that killed Travis and threatened to kill her and her family if she was to talk about what happened. Jody's stories changed more often than her boyfriend's, which basically confirmed her involvement to everyone following the case.
He drove all night and I slept, and then after Roswell Museum, it was my turn to drive. And he's like, just get on this and drive 98 point something miles, and then we should be there. So I got on the road and I drove 98.6 or 2 or whatever miles it was. And I woke him up and I said, I don't think we're here. And he woke up and looked around, and it was just like rolling fields forever. And I drove completely in the wrong direction. And I'm not saying, I don't know, I'm just saying I have a poor sense of direction. I got totally lost. I know maybe that's just bad luck. I got totally lost.
So even if you got totally lost, it doesn't explain all that time. It does not. I mean, if you went 4 hours here, 5 hours in the wrong direction, it still would
Well,
not
at one
explain
point
that
I
time.
wasn't going anywhere because I ran out of gas. I was totally stranded. The true definition of sanity is dedication to reality at all costs.
Mhm.
So I think at times, you know, I may have, you know, prayed or meditated upon a certain way, you know, like me being wealthy or something like that. But
Well, this is definitely reality. We are sitting here inside of an office, the sheriff's department, and you are facing first-degree murder charges.
what is the
And you
difference?
are going to be booked into jail, and eventually you will be brought back to Arizona, and you will stand trial. And I know something horrible happened that day. Absolutely horrible. Something that could have been avoided. Whether something was planned, I don't know. Whether you planned it or whether it accidentally happened or something got out of hand, I don't know. All I can do is speculate. And I want to believe that you're not this cold-hearted person that could just go out and do something like this to somebody. I want to believe that, like a lot of people, things got out of control, and before you knew it, it was too late. That's what I want to believe. And that's truly from my heart. Because I sit here and I've talked to you, and I'm talking to you now, and all those conversations we had on the phone, and I don't see a cold-hearted murderer like you would see on TV or that I've seen before sit across from me. That's not what I see in you. And I'm gonna call it begging. I'm begging you to at least come clean and tell me why. Because I don't want to leave here today not knowing, because it's gonna follow me forever.
I wish that I had answers. I'm sorry.
You need to just let the answers come out.
There's just no reason. There's just no reason.
There's no good reason why this happened. There's never a good reason why somebody dies like this.
How many times was Travis stabbed?
More than I want to remember. And I'm not going to sit here and show you pictures of him after the fact. I don't do that. That's not how I work. That is not for me to do. But eventually those photos will come out. Jody. Jody, we're here now. We're right here. I think you're feeling the reality in the moment now.
No, I'm just feeling all of the things that I'm going to potentially miss out on with my family, and I think of all the things that Travis's family is gonna miss out on with Travis. And he had brothers and sisters, and I have brothers and sisters. And he... It's not fair.
It's not fair, but this is where we are.
I mean, I know that he's in a good place, and I know that he's fine. I know that he's doing great. But what about all of his friends, all of his family that are here and they're just going through all of this? And I know that it's temporary, but
It's so very much right now.
I need a story or else it's just cold. It's so cold. You don't look like the person that would plan something like this. You're just not that person. I can believe other things, but not that. But without the truth, I can't paint another picture. And it's going to be up to the prosecutor to paint that picture. And if you want that prosecutor, and I've met him, and you don't want him painting that picture, because he is good at what he does. I've worked with him before.
And part of me wants to cop out and say it.
No.
Well,
if you're gonna cop out, it's because you're telling the truth.
well, that's not really copping
Okay.
out.
Yeah, I don't want you to sit here and tell me a lie to appease me. That is the worst thing you can do for me.
This is a really trivial question, and it's gonna reveal how shallow I am. But before they book me, can I clean myself up a little bit?
You're gonna be taken the way you are.
Should have at least done your makeup, Jody. Gosh. I didn't hear you breathe.
The bad ways of Jody finally came to an end on the 8th of May 2013, when the Maricopa County Superior Court sentenced Jody Ann Arias to first-degree murder of her ex-boyfriend, Travis Alexander, who lost his life because of a possessive, selfish person. She would spend the rest of her life in prison without the possibility of parole.